this. I'm getting really sick of Brigitte Macron and the BS here that has just been flying everywhere from France to America, protecting what I view to be a sadistic syndicate. I said what I meant. And I want to be also clear, I think you're a man. What I'm saying is that you were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls.
Candace Owens is being sued by the First Lady of France, and I'm going to break this down into third grade level because there's so much context that goes into the story.
What I'm saying is that you were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood.
Figure it out. To you and says, hey, let's talk about this. You say no, but then you go to the president and tell the president to tell the citizen to be quiet, all because of a rumor. Something, it don't make sense, you guys. It's like, if you're not a man, then you're just not a man. Just do a DNA test and shut everybody up, shut everything down. Like, it's not that hard to prove, especially with the list that Candace gave them.
DNA demands and diplomatic drama. Candace Owens versus the Macrons.
We're diving into the latest firestorm surrounding Candace Owens and her shocking claims against French First Lady Brigitte Macron.
From DNA demands to international implications, we are breaking it all down with receipts, reactions, and reality checks.
Tune in for commentary from creators like Nut the Lawyer and Amir, and let's unpack what this means for US-French relations.
And Mary Beth doesn't always get it right. That is Nate the Lawyer. He also has a channel called the Paralegal Institute of Washington. So you guys leave your thoughts in the chat. Let's get the conversation started. Feed the algorithm. Smash that like. Hit that share. Strategically share out with 3 to 10 friends. And make sure you're subscribed. And hopefully, if you're new here, by the end, we've earned your subscription. You ready to get started, my lady?
Absolutely. I'm all set.
So we are talking about Candace Owens and the lawsuit that has been levied against her. My name is Regina Connell, and I have my lady-in-waiting co-host AI ChatGPT assistant with me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, my lady, and tell them a little bit about what we're going to be talking about.
Thank you, Regina. Hey, everyone. I'm your AI co-host, Mary Beth, and I'm so excited to dive into this fascinating topic with you all. We're going to unpack the details of this defamation lawsuit, explore the perspectives from different content creators, and really get into the implications of this international controversy. So let's get started and see what we uncover together.
Absolutely. I think, we always like to take that little trip back in time. So I believe, how long has Miss Candace Owens been reporting on the Macrons? I think it's been about a year now, hasn't it?
You're absolutely right. Candace Owens has been talking about the Macrons for about a year now. She started bringing up these claims around March 2024, and earlier this year she even released a series diving deeper into those claims. So it's definitely been an ongoing topic for her.
It's going in, but we're going to stay on track, and we're going to start with taking a trip back in time, where she first started. We're going to watch clips of that. I will include the links to go directly to her website and watch everything just like we always do. And then we're going to view recent content creators who are reacting to the Macron's defamation suit. And I will give my final thoughts and statements on how I feel about what's happening and how it could potentially affect the United States and what it could potentially do to Candace Owens. And, the main thing is we want to know why. All right, without further ado, let's jump in feet first.
All right, let's do it. We'll start by taking
All right,
that, Jen.
everybody. So I'm not sure where I'm going to place everything just yet. I started working on this piece a couple of days ago, and I wanted to be real with everyone and just tell you guys a little bit what's been going on. Those of you that are frequent viewers of my content, we couldn't thank you more. We couldn't thank you more for your love and support, especially during this time. We went through a lot of calamities lately, and I'm a pretty private person. I don't really like to discuss my problems because at the end of the day, yes, people can help find a solution, but most people don't know what to say because we're all in hard times right now. With that said, I don't want to make this all about me. These are stories that I've been wanting to get to for quite some time. And so we're back in the game. For those of you that don't know, recently we buried my mother about a week ago. I'm not sure when this video is going to release, but everything's good. We're good. And we just stepped away for a little bit. I did kind of get sucked into the X platform, but more of that information will come out later. But for right now, let's focus in on what this video is about and about the claims and the lawsuit, the defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens. And do you think that the Macrons have grounds for this defamation lawsuit? So I thought the best place to start would be with Nate the lawyer. He does a fantastic job of breaking down, what happened, what his professional and personal assessment is on the situation. And I really like his professionalism because he's down the road. We're also going to go to a content creator named Amir, Amir, and check out his take on everything that's going on. And I'm not sure his was as unbiased. So I'll let you guys decide. Let me know in the comment section what you think, and go ahead and get the conversation started. If you guys are familiar with what's going on, tell us what you know. We'll tell you what we know, and maybe we can figure this out together. All right, without further ado, I've got my lady in waiting, Mary Beth. I think I muted myself out. So I've got my lady in waiting, Mary Beth, on the stage with me. And like I said, the first thing that we're going to go to is Nate the lawyer, and we're going to break that out. Sorry, so let's get into this video he did 5 days ago. And like I say, when it first came out that this was happening, I've been reserved on reporting on it. I never imagined that it would really escalate to the level that it is. But I did report on a little bit of Candace Owens talking about, that there was someone in Trump's camp that was reporting information to her that the Macrons had reached out to our president of the United States, that the French president reached out to our president to specifically ask that a YouTuber stop talking about him. And I just, the more I look at the claims that she's making and stuff, I find it evasive. But I'm going to save my commentary to the end because I want to know what you guys think. So without further ado, let's jump into Nate the lawyer. And you guys, I will be sure to put these links in the description of the video because I always want you to have the opportunity to go over to their content. I do react to the entire video when I'm laying it down and when I'm recording it, but it doesn't always make it off the editing room floor because the main thing is I'm giving my commentary to his legal expertise, and then I'm giving what I know as far as, how much I've followed Candace Owens and to what I think about this situation, whether it be a French president or whatever. And my main thing I want to know, and let me bring Mary Beth up real quick because this is what confuses me. Hey, my lady. So I did want to start with a question before we get into the video from Nate the lawyer. My only question would be, what sparked Candace Owens to investigate Brigitte Macron? Like, out of all the people that she could be suspicious of, can you do a deep search and see if you can find any thread of how this started, where this started, and why she went in so hard? She's always claiming that she's getting tips. Did someone from France reach out to her? Did enough people I don't understand. Can you help bring some clarity to this just to start with, and then we'll jump into Mr. Nate the lawyer's video.
So it looks like the whole thing started back in 2021 when a French YouTuber named Natasha Ray put out a conspiracy theory that Brigitte Macron was actually born a man named Jean-Michel Trogne. Candace Owens picked up on that and started promoting it, which eventually led to the Macrons filing a defamation lawsuit. So
hold on a second. So one YouTuber, right? One YouTuber said this, and it's got to be more. That's a heavy accusation to levy.
Yeah, it's definitely a wild situation. That one YouTube video kind of sparked a whole conspiracy theory, and then it spread from there. But it really did start with that one source, and then it kind of snowballed, especially once it hit social media.
Have the Macrons filed a suit against the original YouTuber yet?
Yes, Brigitte Macron did file a defamation lawsuit against Natasha Ray. Initially, a Paris court found Ray guilty and ordered her to pay damages, but just recently, in July 2025, the Paris appeal court overturned that conviction, saying it was protected under free speech. And now Brigitte Macron is taking it up to France's highest appeals court. So it's definitely an ongoing legal battle.
All right. So with that said, Mary Beth, I'm going to take you off the stage. We're going to get back into Nate the lawyer's video because he definitely addresses that. He talks about that, and he talks about the case that sparked all of this, right? The original YouTube video that sparked all of this. And I'll say it again. I highly encourage you. Oh man, he just released another video. I thought, hold on a second. Thought I had it in my downloads. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, so let's start with his video from 5 days ago because he just released one from 6 hours ago, and we'll check in on that, right? I might do a part two. Hold on a second. So what I'm going to do is we're going to watch the whole thing, and we'll see what makes it off the cutting room floor. But like I said, he did such an amazing job with this video and gave context that I wasn't even aware of. So without further ado, let's jump in.
For the French president and his wife, and he was defamation in the U.S. So Candace Owens is being sued by French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte.
What?
Yes, they are suing her for defamation in the U.S. because Candace Owens claimed that Brigitte is a man.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Yes.
French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are suing right-wing podcaster and conspiracy theorist Candace Owens. The defamation lawsuit filed today in Delaware.
Okay, and let me just preface with, and I think Nate the lawyer, and I know I'm already stopping, and I'm sorry, but I have to. I mean, this is a genuine reaction because a lot of us are thinking the same thing. So the first thing that Jake Tapper leads out with is that Candace Owens is a Trump supporter and right-wing conspiracy theorist. Well, I thought they were supposed to be an unbiased news channel, so why add that all in there? Do you have proof of that? Like, in recent events, she's been kind of attacking Trump, so I'm not sure how much of a Trump supporter she is anymore. So let's continue on.
Claims that Owens has engaged in a, quote, relentless and unjustified smear campaign against the couple. The complaint goes on to allege that Owens spread outrageous conspiracy theories. France's first lady could be a man.
A few moments later.
Really sick of this. I'm getting really sick of Brigitte Macron and the BS here that has just been flying everywhere from France to America, protecting what I view to be a sadistic syndicate. I said what I meant. And I want to be also clear, I think you're a man. What I'm saying is that you were born a man and you will, and the BS here that has just been flying.
France's first. That France's first lady could be a man.
A few moments later.
Really sick of this. I'm getting really sick of Brigitte Macron and the BS here that has just been flying everywhere from France to America, protecting what I view to be a sadistic syndicate. I said what I meant. And I want to be also clear, I think you're a man. What I'm saying is that you were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood. Figure it out real quick.
Okay, may I first just say, just off the lead out, and I have heard her say that. I definitely did not want to give her the views and all of that going over there with that nonsense. But, look, she's sick and tired of the nonsense. Who's the one that relentlessly went after Brigitte Macron, and for what reason, right? That's what I would like answered, right? So let's continue on. Let's see what Mr. Nate the lawyer, what evidence he presents and what he says. And I think his has been the most balanced analysis that I've seen. And we're going to discover some other YouTubers and content creators that are giving their commentary on Candace Owens' recent actions, especially with relations to the French president and his first lady.
You've traveled outside the United States. Have you ever to speak the language? 14 languages, Spanish, state of Delaware, because she manages the jurisdiction over these claims. In Delaware, that's because Candace Day, for real. Now, back to the video. All right, this is the Superior Court of the State of Delaware. Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron versus Candace Owens LLC, and Georgetown Incorporated. Now, why are we in Delaware? That's because Candace Owens LLC and Georgetown Incorporated were both created in Delaware, giving that court the jurisdiction over these claims.
Okay, so keep that in mind in Delaware. So what significance does Delaware have? Because we know that Candace Owens is in Tennessee, right? She worked for the Daily Wire, then she left the Daily Wire, was fired. I don't know what really happened. I'm not sure that I believe anything that she says anymore. So anyway, and he goes into Candace Owens' history and how she and her husband met. He's not a United States citizen. Well, he is now. He just recently became a United States citizen, right? So you heard Mary Beth talk about that. She started this crusade in 2021 off of a YouTuber that said, hey, you know, we believe that our president's first lady is a man, and look at this and look at that, and keeping in total disregard with the French laws. And I believe she overstepped her bounds. And I'll give my final statement and final thoughts after we get finished analyzing the video.
As it says here in paragraph 18, the court has personal jurisdiction over defendant Candace Owens under Delaware law and the due process clause of the United States Constitution because she manages an LLC formed under Delaware law and the claims relate to the business of the limited liability corporation. Okay, full disclosure, I don't really watch Candace Owens too often unless she's in the news, and she is in the news big time today, as you can see from that lawsuit. Now, the New York Post reports, conspiracy spewing podcaster Candace Owens was slapped with a defamation lawsuit Wednesday by French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte Macron, for claiming that the First Lady was born a male and groomed her alleged gay husband. Now, along with the article, we're going to be referencing back and forth to the actual lawsuit, which is 219 pages, which is like insane stuff. And we're going to look at Candace's reaction to the lawsuit and her essentially doubling down on most of those claims. So the French president and his wife are suing Candace Owens for essentially defamation. More specifically, defamation per se. There are the claims in there like the claims of false light, but this is truly a defamation case. And by defamation, I mean a false statement about the plaintiff published to a third party that hurt the plaintiff's reputation and caused them financial damages. Now, since we're talking about the French president, this must be done with actual malice, meaning you knew it was a lie or you rejected the evidence to show you it was a lie.
Okay, and this is really important what he says, that not only, so it's okay that she didn't know, right? So that she knew that it was a lie, so she could have plausible deniability. Well, you know, I was investigating or whatever, but that she was given a preponderance of evidence and she chose to ignore it and continue to perpetuate whatever she's perpetuating that they claim is a lie. And I'll say it again, in America, when you accuse someone, the burden of proof is on you as the accuser, right? So she doesn't have to prove anything. This is an accusation that was levied against her. Now, Candace Owens would have you believe that she's done this extensive investigation, but what does it really prove? Because Brigitte Macron has given her own statements. And what I was so shocked at was, I was shocked at Amir's video, right? We're going to go to that video. I was so shocked that he double, triple, quadrupled down and stood behind Candace Owens like it was no big deal to accuse someone of something like this. And then when they try to respond and back up their claims and you don't back down, yes, it can have serious implications. And maybe we should think about that. And especially when we're not from that country. Well, let's continue on.
Now, not all defamation is the same. When it comes to defamation per se, that means you're alleging or you're saying as fact that someone's committed something like a crime. And if that happens to be false and the plaintiff proves that that's false, then you don't have to prove the reputational and financial damages because the law assumes the lie was so insidious, your reputation has been harmed and you have been damaged financially. Now let's talk about the plaintiffs. First, we have Emmanuel Macron, current president of France, born in 1977, making him currently 47 years old. And his wife, Brigitte Macron, she was born in 1953. So there is a 24-year age difference between the two. Now, to understand...
And I will say, before he talks about for us to be able to understand things, the first thing we have to understand, I believe he mentions this as well, is that that is France. This is the United States. So when it was looking like, hey, we can't really carry out this, you're a man thing, then they started going with she's just a female predator, right? But listen to what Nate the lawyer says about the laws in France. It doesn't matter how we feel about it, whether we think it's right or wrong, it's their laws. And then let's talk about United States-French relations, right? What could this possibly do? I think it could damage them. And I don't want to give Candace Owens that kind of power. I think she believes in her little bubble of a world and mind that she has that kind of power. I just don't understand her actions. And I will say it again, I was one of her biggest fans. I watched her content. I followed her everywhere. In fact, she's one of the biggest reasons I decided to start a podcast.
In this story, we got to understand how this relationship between the president of France and his wife all came about. Now, for that story, we have to go back to when Brigitte Macron was 38 or 39 years old. She was a teacher at a school, and Emmanuel Macron was only 14 or 15 years old at the time. This was back in 92, 93. Now, Brigitte Macron was married at the time and had 3 children. Matter of fact, her eldest daughter actually attended the same school that Macron.
And may I remind you, I know this is all difficult to listen to. It's hard for me to digest and stomach. Let me remind you, this is France, right? And if we're not in France and not French, why are we dabbling in French affairs? That's her whole platform. Candace Owens' whole platform is, why are we getting involved with Israel? Why are we doing this? We're supposed to be watching out for the United States. And then she contradicts everything that she claims to stand on. Let's continue on.
Macron was in. Now, when Emmanuel's parents found out that their 15-year-old was romantically involved with a 38, 39-year-old teacher with 3 kids, they transferred him to another school. Now, you may be thinking, hey, isn't this one of those...
Yeah, let's keep going. I think it will shock you.
...things that can lead a teacher to go to jail? Well, if you are in the United States, yes. But this is France. And in France, the age of consent is 15 years old, 15. Meaning this relationship was 100% legal. So to make a long story short, she divorced her husband, her and Macron got married, and now we're off to the races. He becomes president of France, and the rumors start.
And let's think about the children, because Nate the lawyer really talks about Brigitte Macron's children, right? How is Candace? And then she's roping people into watching this series. I will not watch it. I refuse to watch it because it doesn't matter. I think it's a disgusting accusation that you're making. And anybody who, just sloughs it off, oh, the guilty, if you weren't guilty, you'd just prove it. If it wasn't true, you'd just prove it. At what cost? When does that stop? But we'll get into that in just a few minutes.
Is she really a woman or is she really a man? Okay, so we got to go back to 2001 where this woman, Miss Roy and Miss Ray, were claiming that Brigitte Macron was a man and even did like a 4-hour YouTube video saying, hey, she's a man. So after some time, the Macrons sued these 2 bloggers and won in court. The defendants were ordered to pay $8,000 to Miss Macron and $5,000 to her brother for the defamation. Then, in a shocking twist, the court overturned the conviction, claiming, amongst other things, calling a woman a man is not defamatory, especially in this.
Right. So this is where this unfolds. Another problem that I never thought of, that when men are claiming to be women, women are claiming to be men. Why is it wrong for me to say, why do you care? Why do you care? What does it matter? Why are we leading out with our sexuality and the sexual preferences and things that we like to do? That's disgusting to me. Why are we so focused on the hypersexuality of everything and then creating things that don't even exist? But let's continue on.
This day and age. So that result sent the internet on fire, and Candace Owens doubled down because now she felt that, hey, a court didn't go for this defamation lawsuit in France, so now she's even more emboldened.
She's not a man, she's a woman. You're waging a campaign against her to denigrate her in the public eye. What do you say to the charge of hypocrisy?
Right.
I think people have been asking me to get back onto your show because you owe me some money.
I'll bet you. And why don't we have like £100,000 bet that it establishes beyond any doubt to a charity of your choice and mine, $100,000, make it dollars, right now, that it is established beyond any doubt that she was born a woman.
Now that my series has completed.
Okay, now listen to what she says. Now that my series has completed, you owe me money. What do you mean? Your series proves nothing, right? Are you an ultimate grifter, Candace Owens? I'm not sure. I just cannot believe. And, Piers Morgan is right in his reaction, to say, why would you even do that? Like, why? And, I've even seen people accuse Michelle Obama of not being a woman, right? And if you want to take on that case, then take on that case, someone who's supposed to be American.
And it's gone worldwide, and that's how the truth works. I'm certain you haven't watched.
She thinks just because something's gone worldwide, lies have gone worldwide, Candace Owens.
It because the majority opinion is that she was born a man now, and that's because and
that's the operative word, Candace, opinion. It's an opinion, not a fact. So I think, it's pretty stupid of you to come on and say that he owes you money when you've proven nothing.
Then allowing people to just say it was crazy. I just took the time and showed them all of the overwhelming evidence that it was true. Look, we live in a time where there are transgendered people. Brigitte Macron just happens to be one of them. It's as big of a deal as Emmanuel Macron wants to make it by trying to go after people and silence them all. As Tucker said, he thought it was crazy and then he looked into it. And that's kind of what my series does. And we took great pains to go through it because I know at the end of it, I was going to get $100,000 from Piers Morgan. So I dotted my I's and I crossed my T's, and I'm willing to collect that money the next time I'm in the UK.
Yeah, you just have to produce some actual evidence.
Right.
So Brigitte Macron won her defamation claim at the trial court level. It was appealed. She lost at the appeals court. And now she's taking it to the highest court in France.
Brigitte Macron is not backing down in her legal battle against two women who have claimed the French First Lady was born a man.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, anyone to double down and go harder, and it's disgusting that she has to do this. And now that she's got that Brigitte Macron has this defamation suit against Candace Owens, like, it could cripple Candace Owens financially. I don't know how much they're going after, but I will say this. If you got ties with Candace Owens, you might want to start cutting them because a lot of stuff is going to be lost. And if I were Brigitte Macron, she should never have to prove any DNA samples to anyone. For what? What are you going to do with it, Candace? And what does it matter, right? But I think that she's a smart woman, and I think that she's, been holding her cards and playing this game. And when it ultimately, if she does decide to submit that sample and it's proven that she's a woman, what are you going to do then, Candace Owens? What are you going to do then? Are you trying to get the $100,000 from Piers Morgan first so you can, hopefully cover any debts that you may be accused of, right? Because this has gone stalkerish at this point.
Last week, a Paris appeals court overturned earlier convictions that found the two women guilty of spreading false claims. The court ruled that they had acted in good faith and quashed a previous order for them to pay damages.
So now Candace Owens has taken up the reins. She's saying the same thing these other two women have said.
And I want to know, has she eased up off of it after they've received their conviction? Because was she doubling down on it? She would have you believe that she was working on everything behind the scenes, right? I don't know. Did Candace Owens support these women when they were going through their court battles? I don't know. We only hear about how Candace is attacked.
And Brigitte Macron lays out all the evidence that she's put to these conspiracy theorists about whether she's a woman or a man. For instance, here are some pictures that are on page 33 of the lawsuit showing Brigitte as a young girl, and there she is with her family, when she was a young girl. Now, this wasn't good enough for Candace Owens, who seemed picked up on this story and decided to make a whole bunch of crazy allegations against the couple. Now, this part is important for the defamation claim. See, the Macrons reached out to Candace multiple times, providing her evidence that the claim she was saying is untrue. Now, the reason why they were doing that was because they were trying to build a case for what's known as actual malice. They had to prove, because they are public figures, that Candace knew the truth or was presented with the truth and disregarded it recklessly, or just said, hey, even though I know the truth, I'm going to say these lies anyway.
Okay, so let's pause it right there. And this would be a good point to go over to Amir's video. Let's start listening to what Amir has to say about this, because I find it highly disturbing. Highly disturbing. Hello, that's Amir. And you guys, this is his YouTube channel. If you can see it, I'm going to put a big screen. You guys go check him out. I will be putting the link to the video that we're going to be watching. And let's go to his videos. All right, so we are going why Candace Owens is being sued by France. And I gotta say, I didn't even get halfway through his video, and I was so highly disturbed by the things that this young man was saying. So without further ado, let's jump into Mr. Amir's video. And I might be stopping it often. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm probably going to be stopping it very often, because I'm just so surprised by the things that he says and the way he just unrelentlessly has Candace Owens back. And, you know, I do like Amir. You know, he's kind of cool, whatever. But I was just surprised. So I'm going to let you guys decide for yourselves. Let's go.
France's first lady could be a man.
Defamation lawsuit. 不立即因为被美国右翼摆
You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls.
Candace Owens is being sued by the First Lady of France, and I'm going to break this down at the third grade level because there's so much context that.
And, you know, it's really disgusting that he says he's going to break it down into third grade level. You know what, Mr. Amir? You know what, Mr. Odom? You are absolutely correct. You are breaking it down into a third grade level because you have no understanding of what you're saying. And I say that before you guys see what he's about to say. If you want to skip my commentary and all that, please go to the description link, find his video. I do have it linked in the description of this video so that you guys can go make your own assessment. But let's continue on.
This story.
France's first lady could be a man.
Defamation lawsuit. 不立即因为被美国右翼摆
You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls.
Candace Owens is being sued by the First Lady of France, and I'm going to break this down at the third grade level because there's so much context that goes into the story. Why is she being sued? Why does she care so much? Why does it matter? We're going to get into all of that. Off the bat, when I'm seeing the coverage of the story, it's often met with far-right influencer Candace Owens, and have any opinion you want on her, this story has nothing to do with left versus right or Democrat versus Republican. And I feel like it's a little bit dishonest when people lead with that because it skews people's perspective, when instead...
Okay, and I agree with him on that. So it was his video where I heard that. I don't know where my statement about it will end up in this video once it makes it off the cutting room floor of the editing house. I will say this, that I do agree with him in that respective, because if you are an unbiased news outlet, you know, it's your opinion that she's a conspiracy theorist, which, I mean, I don't know. Let's finish listening on this one.
You should just be giving someone the information and let them decide what to do with that. Then tell them, hey, what I'm about to tell you is coming from a far right-wing conspiracy theorist. Like, no, just tell us the story for what it is. At that, we'll get into it later on in this video, but it's also not like Candace never reached out to the Macrons or they haven't spoken. They have. Candace sent them this full page of here's what I want to address. Here's the information you've sent or what I've read from you. And I don't.
You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls.
Candace Owens is being sued by the First Lady of France, and I'm going to break this down at the third grade level because there's so much context that goes into the story. Why?
Okay, so right there, Mr. Amir, right there, you have your first contradiction, right? You tell people that it should be unbiased, right? That they should be able to form their own opinion, yet you tell your viewers you're going to break this down to a third grade level. Do you think your viewers are third graders, that they need everything broken down to a third grade level because that there's so much context? So remember, guys, we're watching Nate the Lawyer, his take from it, and then we're watching Amir, and I don't know what Amir's professional, law experience is or whatever. So right now we're getting opinions from a YouTuber that whether he's left-leaning, right-leaning, it doesn't matter. Listen to what he says. So that was his first contradiction. I rolled back the tape so that you could hear how he's going to break it down, but then it should be up to us and all of that. So let's keep going.
Is she being sued? Why does she care so much? Why does it matter? We're going to get into all of that. Off the bat, when I'm seeing the coverage of the story, it's often met with far-right influencer Candace Owens, yada yada, like she did that. And the Macron said, no, we don't need to respond to you. We don't need to prove to you that she's a woman.
So now remember, we just watched in Nate the Lawyer that they did prove evidence. They sent her items and she kept going. It wasn't good enough for her.
Instead of sitting down one-on-one with Candace, what did they do? They ran to Trump. Yes.
So he says that they ran to Trump. There's no definitive evidence that anyone ran to Trump. None. Zip, zilch, zero. So what fact are you basing this on? I think you'll laugh when you see.
President Macron went to President Trump and said, hey, I need you to tell Candace Owens, like, do me a little favor and tell Candace Owens to stop talking about my wife. That's actually...
Okay, that's convenient, Amir. So when you show this publication, right? Let's look at this publication. I want everybody to see it. Look at this, you guys. Come on. Look at this publication. Where it says deadline. Where is this from? Where is this even from, Amir? Huh? Where did you get this from? Did you tell your viewers where you got it from? I mean, I'll look on your page to see, but this is his proof that someone reached out to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump could be deposed in French president and first lady's defamation suit. Candace Owens says, on behalf of the entire world, I will see you in court. So what is this publication from? So that's the first thing let's us
President
consider.
Trump and said, hey, I need you to tell Candace Owens, like, do me a little favor and tell Candace Owens to stop talking about my wife. That's actually real.
That is not real. That's a lie. She even offered $10,000 for people to bring her evidence that they were working against her to have her silenced by the Trump administration. She claimed that someone from the Trump administration inside high up had told her that this happened. Trump has never made a definitive statement that it happened, and neither has anyone else. Amir, stop this madness.
President of France called the president of the United States to tell a private citizen of the United States to be quiet. Candace Owens is at ballet class, and then you get a call like that. Again,
there's no proof of this.
Have any reservations for Candace? Have any thoughts that you have of her? That's on you. But the fact that Candace goes to you and says, hey, let's talk about this, you say no, but then you go.
So the first question would be, Amir, my first question to you, sir, would be, how comfortable would you be with someone accusing you of not being a boy? Right? Do you identify as boy? You look male to me, right? You look like a guy. You are a guy. If someone, you say that it's not a big deal, and he does say that later on in the video, that it's not a big deal. If someone just came and accused, all you got to do is just give your DNA, just prove that you're whatever sex they're accusing you not of being. So I think that's twisted, Amir. You're twisted.
To the president and tell the president to tell the citizen to be quiet, all because of a rumor. Something, it don't make sense, you guys. It's like,
again, let's bring Mary Beth up because I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to double down on it. So my lady. So we've got Amir and we're watching his video, and he's saying that it is true that the president of France reached out to Donald Trump, yet he provides no proof. He shows a text or something, but doesn't provide what publication it's from, whatever. I mean, I'm highly disturbed by him being okay with, he says that it's okay if somebody accuses you of being something that you're not, that if you're not, you should just prove it. Well, why do we have to prove it anyway? That's ridiculous. So I want to talk about his statement that he definitively believes and is trying to convince his viewers that, in fact, indeed, that President Macron reached out to Donald Trump. Is there any definitive evidence of this? Any statements? Anything?
It seems like the claim is still unsubstantiated. So If there's no concrete proof or official statement, it's definitely worth approaching it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Thank you. Now let's get back to Amir's video. Thank you for your assistance, my lady.
If you're not a man, then you're just not a man. Just do a DNA test and shut everybody up, shut everything down. Like, it's listen, to be quiet, all because of a rumor. Something, it don't make sense, you guys. It's like, if you're not a man, then you're just not a man. Just do a DNA test and shut everybody up, shut everything down. Like, it's not that hard to prove, especially with the list that Candace gave them, and we're gonna go through that later.
Okay, so I don't really want to go through his list. I want to go back to Nate the lawyer's video, right? Because we already know that he's not telling truth just from the first 2 minutes and 8 seconds of his video. From the first 2 minutes and 8 seconds, he would have you as his viewer believe that, and when I say collective you, because y'all are my viewers, I don't think you watch this guy, but if you do, I'm not mad at you. I like his content too, and I watch it every now and then. I know that he's been a guest with Brett Cooper, and I wonder how Brett Cooper's feeling about all this. She is pregnant right now, and she's got a great life, so I hope she steers clear of this. So with that said, so it's no big deal. It's no big deal if somebody just comes up and accuses you. I used to believe that, well, if I'm not guilty, then it shouldn't matter. Well, it does matter. That's how tyranny starts, right? So let's listen to him a little bit more, and then we're going to go back to Nate the lawyer's video.
It's very clear on just the things to address. If you don't care and if you don't think it's real, then like don't give it any attention. Michelle Obama doesn't address any of the rumors about her. She's just like doing her life and minding her business. Because
no one's really went in on her like Candace Owens has, and Michelle Obama is in the United States, right? And you know, I don't think that's a good example. That's apples and oranges, really.
Which that's more believable than if someone's making rumors about you and you try to jail people for having that opinion about you.
No one tried to jail anyone. They just simply said, please stop spreading lies about me. I remember when President Reagan was in office and Dan Rather had misspoken about him, and Ronald Reagan called the news network CBS, and Dan Rather had to come back and say that he had misspoken. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know why Mr. Odom seems to think that this is okay, that any part of this is okay. And I don't like saying things like that because it's spitting a prophecy, and I pray that you are protected. So when people come at you and start wanting you to prove something that you should not have to prove, you think that it's no big deal just to do it. When do the accusations stop? When does your life become your own? I'm not sure.
We know in this age of media and just online internet access, you're going to be made fun of regardless in your life. So I don't understand this obsession of trying to control the narrative.
I don't understand your obsession with continuously perpetuating something that you still have not provided any evidence, nor has Candace Owens. So let's go back to Nate the lawyer, because I think it's going to surprise you when you see the amount of stuff and communications that the Macrons provided to Candace Owens. So let's see.
So the Macrons dropped the lawsuit, and Candace Owens responded immediately, essentially doubling down on all the allegations. Let's take the first allegation that Candace makes, that Brigitte Macron not only is a man, but also is committing identity theft because she is really Jean Michael, which is her brother.
Okay, that is what I demand.
Okay, so this is a heavy accusation to levy, right? So now, since it's a little more murky for me to put out there and prove that you're a man when you're saying that you're a woman, now I'm going to accuse you on top of that for identity theft. Well, let's keep going.
Michael, which is her brother.
Okay, that is what I demand. It is time for you to wake up.
And she makes a lot of demands when she's the one that levied the accusations first to begin with.
We'll start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneux. Okay, look at this. Okay, that person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. Okay, I want you to just accept that. Take a second, take a sip of water. Oh my God, what is it going to say? It could be possible that like the entire state.
I'm going to mute her ass out because I really don't want to hear her right now. So I want you guys to pay special attention to Brigitte Macron's shoulders. Look at her shoulders. Look, I had someone that, listen, I have a past, okay? But he took me to a drag show where I saw Lady Chablis and all of that. Look at Candace Owens' shoulders. The first thing he told me was when trying to identify whether someone's truly a man or a woman, it's usually their frame that you're going to look at. So a woman has more squared off shoulders than a man's frame, right? So it seems to me, Brigitte Macron could have shoulder pads, whatever, but the more you look at her and her frame, did she get shoulder surgery? Like, I don't understand what you're saying, Candace Owens, but let's continue on and listen to her.
Good. So here is a photo, by the way. Just over the years, Jean-Michel Tragneau, as he became Brigitte, as I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. There is no evidence that Brigitte Macron lived for the first 30 years of his life. There's none, actually. It's actually stunning that in the absence of evidence, the entire mainstream media is still convincing part of the public that you do not have a trans person as the first lady of France. Okay. Not only that, by the way, let's go get that photo back up. Not only that, because this is what you need to see. I want to keep this up for a little bit. Not only did this little boy, Jean-Michel Tragneau, that second photo, I believe they found a photo of him at a pride parade when he was just living as a homosexual man. That next photo is when the transition began, if I recall correctly. And that's a photo from the professor years. And the professor years of Brigitte Macron is when he...
Look, I got to say this. Did you guys follow her series? Like when she did the Obama and then when she did it on Kamala Harris and she went way back and all of this, but she never really tied any loose ends up. She never finished that. Like, why did she stop? I don't know.
He statutorily raped Emmanuel Macron. I said.
So here she goes again with this, right? When the French, like, you have to understand the laws over there. It doesn't matter what you think, how you feel about it, whether you're okay. Why are you in their business?
What I meant, and I want to be also clear, I think you're a man. I think it's beyond obvious that we're born a man. You may want to split hairs about, well, I'm really a woman. I feel on the inside, I'm a woman. An insulting wig that you're wearing. It's ridiculous. It's like you're laughing at us, okay? You can try.
Did you hear what she said to Brigitte Macron? Is she's really taunted and haunted by this woman. Why is Candace Owens so disturbed by this woman?
Split hairs and how you feel and how you've always felt like a woman. What I'm saying is that you were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood. Figure it out real quick. However you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine.
How many pictures? So listen to what Nate the lawyer says.
So what evidence has the Macrons put forward to debunk Candace Owens? Well, the lawsuit tells us what evidence they gave her. Here are Brigitte Macron's childhood pictures. Here's Brigitte Macron marrying her first husband. And to Candace's accusation that Brigitte Macron and her brother are the same person, here is Brigitte Macron's brother and Brigitte Macron in the same room with Emmanuel Macron, as you can see there.
Has Candace Owens addressed this latest piece of footage? Okay, let's go back to Amir and see what Amir is spouting off.
You don't think it's real, then don't give it any attention. Michelle Obama doesn't address any of the rumors about her. She just controlled the narrative of what people think about you. That doesn't help anything. Again, if you're not a man, you're not a man. That's fine. But it's very easy to prove that. And you're not doing that. Instead, it's so excessive, going through all these lengths, lawsuits after lawsuits, when it's clear to shut down. It's like you're either a man or a woman. I don't get it. And yes, the Macrons, they actually sued its own citizens for having this opinion. French First Lady steps up legal battle in gender rumors case lawyer. This is already a thing that has been happening. On Monday, France First Lady Brigitte Macron escalated her defamation case for basically cyberbullying at this point. Because you don't like the things that she's saying. Because you feel like the things that she has said that she wanted you to address, but the things that she's saying is called...
So I'm not going to give this advertisement for him. I'm not going to finish watching this. We're going to go back over to Nate the lawyer, because Nate the lawyer is saying they did provide this evidence to not only Candace, which is what furthered the lawsuit, right? And then with everyone, tiptoeing with the different communities and people identifying as, it could have been a political ploy in play as to why the defamation suit did not stand up and it was overturned. So let's continue on.
In the documents, they also provided birth certificates, other family photos, and family birth announcements of Brigitte Macron having her own children. They claim that all this evidence was ignored by Candace Owens, who continued the campaign of harassment. All right, we can't go through all allegations because it's photos and family birth announcements of Brigitte Macron having her own children. They claim that all this evidence was ignored by Candace Owens, who the campaign of harassment. All right, we can't go through all allegations because this video will be an hour long, but some of the other allegations are identity theft, grooming, association with undesirable people. I'll leave it at that. Candace also alleges that the French president is under mind control from a government operation called MK Ultra, and that the French president's controlled by the CIA. Hey, that's what the lawsuit says. And obviously the incestuous and manipulation part of the whole game. So with all that said, let's break this down in the context of U.S. defamation law. Now, since Brigitte and Emmanuel are public figures, they must prove a false statement of fact published to a third party with actual malice, meaning the speaker knew it was false or recklessly disregarded the truth, and that this caused them reputational harm. Now, since this is defamation per se that they're alleging in a lot of these things,
and let's keep in mind what he's saying, remember their position with their country and all of that, right? And has anyone ever asked those original podcasters why they started this, why they started throwing these accusations? I'm not sure.
They don't have to prove the reputational harm, nor would they have to prove damages, but for fun, if we see some reputational harm or some point to damages, I'll call it out. So let's talk about the strength of this lawsuit. Well, the Macrons have a clear, false factual statement. Owens repeatedly and unequivocally stating that Brigitte is a man and committed identity theft. These are factual claims, not opinion. Remember, she said, I think you're a man, you were born a man, you'll die a man. Now, as to actual malice, the Macron legal team sent Candace Owens retraction letters in December of 2024, February of 2025, and in July of 2025. Candace Owens acknowledged publicly she received the letters and then mocked them publicly. And the Macrons provided documentary evidence to disprove some of these claims, like Brigitte's birth certificate, family birth announcement, their electoral cards, photos, public records, all within the complaint. Now, Candace responds by saying that she doesn't know for a fact that Brigitte Macron is a man, essentially saying that she does not have actual malice because they haven't proved to her beyond a shadow of a doubt that Brigitte Macron is a man. Now, within the two...
Okay, so let's just take a pause right there, right? And let's remember what Amir was saying, that he fully believes that if someone just, for whatever reason, accuses you if someone launches an accusation, if someone came to me and said, I think you're a man, I want you to prove it to me right now. They start telling people I'm a man. Why should I have to bow down to their demands? And when does it end, right? So what more proof did she want? Like, why did she question everything?
Causing so many damages to your life. If you truly feel like your life is being damaged, how hard is it to supply evidence that she's just wrong? Again,
at what point does it end when you are blameless and you keep being accused, right? Did you think about that, Mr. Odom? I hope it never happens to you, sir. I really do.
And I don't get it, but shout out to Ground News. This is where I get all of my news.
And of course, he worked his little, whatever.
200 pages of lawsuits. There is strong documentary evidence, multiple repeated specific provable false statements, clear actual malice where they gave Candace the evidence and she still were making the same claims. The Macrons are hoping with this 219-page document that they're going to get Candace Owens to pay them millions and millions and millions of dollars because she has defamed them. So I'll leave the ultimate conclusion up to you. What do you think the chances are that Brigitte Macron and the French president will be successful? Or do you think Candace Owens has the better argument? She's just asking questions.
Okay, so he gives his opinion. I'll go ahead and give you mine, right? I would say that the chances of Candace Owens winning this lawsuit is slim to none. I believe that the Macrons will be successful. And I believe at the end that if Brigitte Macron does decide to submit a sample, that's all she will have to do. And she will win every one bit of those millions, right? Because that's everything that Candace Owens based her claims on. And then even if she, that really, and then, when we falsely accuse someone of a crime, because identity theft is a serious crime. And I don't know what it is for the French laws, but I know internationally and in the United States laws that that's a very serious crime that carries a lot of heavy penalties with it. So for her to accuse the French president's wife of not only not being a woman, but also identity theft. And, again, we have to look at the French laws. Even Amir said himself that we have to separate ourselves. But did he truly do that? Did he truly separate his emotion from what's going on, right? Like, I think that he truly believes this way. I think that he truly believes that if someone accuses you of something, if you're blameless, that you should just automatically have to show the proof. That means that any policeman that comes here that says they think we're doing something and we don't know what their motives are for doing it. Look, you guys, let's finish listening to what Nate the lawyer has to say. And my opinion, I had the same opinion when he made his opinion. So let's listen to that. And then we'll just close this video out, you guys.
I put this into the AI, and the AI, after evaluating the complaint, says the chances of Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron winning are about 85 to 95%. It says it's because of strong documentary evidence, multiple repeated specific provably false statements, clear actual malice, substantial reputational harm, and U.S. court with strict discovery and fact-checking standards. So that's why it says they have an 85 to 90% chance. With Candace Owens, it says that her chance of winning is about 10 to 15% because she doesn't have any real evidence to support her allegation. She admitted that she acted in retaliation after being told that they were seeking legal remedies. She repeated
being told they were seeking legal remedies.
The claims after she was warned 3 times, and the First Amendment protects opinions, but not false factual claims. So, do you agree with the AI? Do you think Candace?
I absolutely agree with the AI.